CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Are the playoffs in the cards for either of these teams? We will find out. It is a rainy day. Nobody knows that better than our Melanie Collins downstairs. Mel.
Thanks, Greg. Well, lots of rain in the forecast today, but the Tennessee Titans are prepared. They had similar conditions in Nashville on Friday, so they practiced outdoors in the elements. Mike Vrabel told us they took a bucket and filled it with dish soap and water and dunked all of the footballs in the bucket to make them as slippery as possible. He said, I wanted the guys to feel like they were holding a carp. So ball security was the focus at practice on Friday as this team's turned the ball over 12 times on the road this season. And Mike Vrabel told us that the key today will be those little details in the wet weather, staying with the snap a little bit longer and taking some extra caution with the handoffs, Greg.
Thank you, Melanie. So the order from the sideline is catch the carp and hold on to it. Giants have won the toss. They will defer, which means Aldrick Rosas will kick it away to Darius Jennings, number 15. Both these teams needing a win, and we're underway. Jennings, a yard deep in the end zone. 25, out to about the 26 or 27 yard line. Tay Davis making the tackle, and onto the field comes the offense led by Marcus Mariota. And as you guys pointed out in our open, been efficient.
He has been very efficient, and especially these last 6 games since the bye week. They're 4-2. He's throwing the ball for nearly 50 yards more per game these last 6 weeks. And I think some of it has to do with the run game is more effective as well.
That would be Derrick Henry, who is in the backfield. And they fake to him. Mariota on the move and throws on the run. Sideline is complete, close to the 40-yard line and out of bounds. The catch is made by Taywan Taylor.
Well, I was a little surprised that the defense wasn't prepared for this. This is something that Tennessee likes to do. Mariota likes to get outside the pocket, and that time just not staying home. Josh Morrow collapsing on the backside and giving Mariota a free lane.
From the 40, the pass outside to Taylor, and Taylor dragged down after about a 2 or 3 yard pickup. A look at the Tennessee Titans offense. Up front, Jack Conklin is out, the right tackle, with a knee, and has been replaced by the 7th-year O-lineman Dennis Kelly. On 2nd and 7, penalty markers fly. This play won't count.
Before the snap, neutral zone infraction, defense number 97. It's a 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Our referee Sean Hockley today, and that penalty is on Josh Morrow.
Not a good start for Josh Morrow. You talked about Dennis Kelly filling in at right tackle or taking over at right tackle. You have to remember, throughout the course of the last couple seasons, he's played a bunch because the Titans like to use an extra offensive lineman in their 3 tight end type look packages. So he's gotten a lot of reps. They feel very confident with him in there today.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel says he doesn't give it a second thought when he has to go into the offensive lineup. This is Henry. And Henry picking his way across midfield inside the Giant 45-yard line to about the 42, and that's enough for a first down. Curtis Riley making the tackle. Coach, you're not going to get much surprise from this Tennessee offense.
No, it's going to be toss up the middle with Derrick Henry and then the bootlegs like you saw early in the game. And when they get that running game going, the play action is really, really good.
On first down, this is Henry up the middle. I think it's deceptive, not so deceptive when you see him compared to the other players, but he's so doggone big.
Big and fast. And, one thing you got to watch today, he is excellent in the screen game also.
He picked up 6, 2nd and 4 at the 36. Going to keep it on the ground, and Henry dragging people along to the 30-yard line, and enough for another Tennessee first down. B.W. Webb with the stop. A look at the Giant defensive lineup at the bottom of your screen.
One of the things to note today, watch how good the Tennessee receivers block safeties, which makes the corners crack replays, and they're not very good tacklers, especially against a big back.
Dion Lewis has come into the lineup for Tennessee in the backfield. Mariota on the move, little flip, complete. Lost the football, and it is incomplete. Ruled incomplete on the field, Michael Pruitt. Had it for a moment and dropped it.
Well, we've already seen it through the course of this drive, and that's when Derrick Henry is running the football. You have to tackle. You have to bring more than one guy to make the tackle. Talking to both defenses and both players on both teams, because of the two outstanding running backs that both teams have, they said you've got to swarm tackle. You can't just rely on one guy. We know what Derrick Henry did a week ago against Jacksonville with all the stiff arms on that 99-yard run, and Saquon Barkley the same thing. He can break tackles and get those extra yards as well.
Mariota for Lewis. Out of the backfield, trying to turn the corner, is run out of bounds just as he reached the 30-yard line, run out by Alec Ogletree.
Yeah, caught the Giants in man-to-man. Alec Ogletree, he can still really run for a linebacker. He's got 5 interceptions this year, playing really high level right now. Just ran him down.
5 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's trying to get some offensive plays from Coach Shermer.
Dion Lewis in the backfield for Tennessee, he has 2 touchdowns.
Well, and he's such an effective weapon. Catch, good change-up back for Derrick Henry. Dion Lewis comes in. He had 50 catches coming into today, just made that catch there. Very sure-handed back that you can get isolation matchups if you get him one-on-one with the linebacker.
Here's a 3rd and 9. Mariota stepping up, throwing, got his man and right through his hands. Taywan Taylor had a first down inside the 15, close to the 10-yard line, and went right through his hands.
Well, we're going to see some of that today because of these wet conditions, because of the windy conditions. And we talked to Vrabel yesterday. It's interesting that he has
the gloves.
that Taylor has the gloves on, because Coach Vrabel wasn't a big fan of the gloves in the rain. The new style gloves sometimes can get a little slippery. That time, right through the hands of Taylor.
What did he compare it to? A slip and slide when it gets wet?
Yes.
Ryan Succop from 48 yards. Bending too much, not good.
The field goal is unsuccessful. The ball will be next snap at the 38-yard line. Timeout.
So a nice drive by Tennessee comes up empty. The Giants take over when we get back. Scoreless in the first quarter with 11:25 to play, and Eli Manning brings the Giants out of their huddle. 197 yards throwing and 3 touchdowns at Washington last week. Saquon Barkley in the backfield behind him.
24, go 24. 118, we're done.
And Barkley will get it started. And dragged down at the 40-yard line. A look at the New York Giants offense, and we talked a little bit earlier about Eli Manning. You know, I guess it's a common thing, Trent, and everybody knows it. When you have a bad way on the field, quarterback gets a lot of the blame, even if he deserves it or not.
That's part of playing the position, though. You get more blame than you're supposed to get, and you get more credit than what you're supposed to get. But that's the nature of playing the position. Eli understands that. He doesn't waver. He's steady, has been throughout the entire season and throughout his entire career.
On 2nd and 8, the pass to the near sideline. Barkley, it's off his fingertips. The Tennessee defense at the bottom of your screen, missing linebacker Brian Orakpo today.
Yeah, and Jarrell Casey's already had an impact. He was 2 yards in the backfield on the first down. Another big 3rd down. See, I think who wins 3rd down today is going to be critical in who wins the game.
Well, and this is going to be in the favor of the Titans. When you look at the down and distance, the problems that you have with handling the ball, both quarterback and receiver, because of the conditions.
Manning throwing it. Incomplete at the 40-yard line. Intended for Sterling Shepard.
Well, that's a great job of Eli Manning buying a little time and just laying it out for Shepard, and looked like he dropped this one.
Well, and it looks like there was contact up the field, so you could have had illegal contact, and it looked like Ryan got there a little bit early, so the fans looking for a pass interference call, but none was called, resulting in the Giants having to punt.
Riley Dixon set to kick it away to Adoree Jackson, number 25. And we have a whistle and a penalty flag on the far side of the field at the 40-yard line.
Before the snap, false start. Offense number 30. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Antonio Hamilton, the guilty New York Giant. Pat Shurmur not entirely into the Christmas spirit over that call, obviously. He was fun to talk to the other day, wasn't he? It was just a very practical, straightforward approach to his job and his belief in his players.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's ready for this job. You know, he got one really young in Cleveland, and he's more than ready for this one.
Dixon, poor kick this time, but he gets a bounce inside the 30 and rolls to a stop at the 25-yard line. That's a 40-yard punt, 10:28 to play in a scoreless first quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. Try our game day menu. Garmin. Get a Garmin smartwatch and beat yesterday. And by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered.
Well, the New York Jets played on this very field yesterday, losing 29-22 to the Houston Texans, and that's how they turned this from a Jets home field into a Giants home field in time for today's 1 o'clock kick. Mariota and the Titans from their own 25. Henry almost lost the handle. Still makes something out of it. Got about 5 to the 30-yard line.
Well, that's what you can't have. You know, they had the safety right in the hole, and he missed the tackle. He brings him down. They lose a yard right there.
That's what we talked about. Curtis Riley getting into the backfield. We talked about swarming tackling, gang tackling, having multiple players there. Riley just not able to hang on to the leg of Derrick Henry.
On 2nd and 5. And Mariota keeps it. First down yardage. And out of bounds just across the 40-yard line.
Well, that's one thing talking about Marcus Mariota last night at the hotel. He's talking about it's December. I'm going to run the football. It's time. I've got to win the game. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the game.
Came into this game with 339 yards rushing on the season.
Yeah, we talked about protecting himself, and he said, you know, this time of year, you've just got to go get it. And it doesn't matter for that first down, for that touchdown, whatever it may be. He expressed, he's like, listen, I want to protect myself, but also we have to win this football game.
Henry. And Henry close to midfield. When we talked to Mike Vrabel, he talked about how nice it would be the first time they got their hands on the ball to get a first down. Well, they had a pretty impressive drive and just missed the field goal for openers, but they're looking good again here.
Yeah, they're having a great success running the football so far on first down, and their play action on first down, really setting themselves up for easy third downs and making first downs as they go. Drop pass, stop the first drive, and they got another good one going now.
On 2nd and 3, both Henry and Lewis are in the backfield. The little pitch, the give, coming around from the end position is Tajae Sharpe. And Sharpe marked out of bounds at about the 47-yard line, but that'll be enough for another Tennessee first down.
Well, it was interesting talking to Matt LaFleur this week about what they're doing offensively, because we've already mentioned that Conklin's out, so Kelly's in at right tackle, and they've lost both tight ends for the season. I said that the offense is so centered around using your tight ends. I said, what are you going to do from a play call standpoint? It makes it more difficult. He said, we've got to change tempo, which we've already seen with some quick huddles and getting the ball snapped. He said, we've got to move Mariota around. We've got to get to the outside. We've got to do some read option. There's lots of things involved. We've seen all those things in the first 2 drives.
Tennessee already with 5 first downs today. The pitch for Henry. Pulls his way to about the 43.
Yeah, again, that run looked like nothing, and it gains 3 or 4 yards because he's so big and powerful. He just moves the whole pile. You know, Curtis Riley, he struggled in this drive, so if he's missed 2 big tackles, that would have been negative gains.
You know, we've seen it with a couple of players. You wonder how someone so big and strong can be so soft-spoken, but that's Derrick Henry. On 2nd and 7, this time he's going nowhere. That's Josh Morrow.
Well, this is one that Mariota should have pulled if this was actually an option where he could have read it and kept it. The defender just comes right upfield.
Had a nice stun on Josh Morrow, beat the tackle inside, hit the dive, and then that allowed the defensive end to stay on the quarterback.
So, Coach, you've talked about the importance of third down. The Giants, last 3 games, including today, have held their opponents to just 4 for 27 on third down.
If you keep getting them in 3rd and 9 and 10, you should be successful.
Whistle. And a timeout called as the play clock wound down. Timeout,
Charge.
Tennessee.
Timeout of the half. Tennessee. It's a 30-second timeout.
So let's talk about the kind of game you expect. I know, first of all, wet conditions out there don't rank real high on Trent Green's list as far as playing conditions.
You know, I was one of those guys, the water didn't bother me much. It had more to do with the wind. As far as controlling the football, I wasn't a glove guy. I didn't like wearing gloves, and I liked having the football in my hand. You can see Mariota's doing the same thing. Eli doesn't wear a glove on his throwing hand. It's you want to have the feel of it. It's the wind that really can cause more of a problem.
Yeah, I always felt like if your quarterback liked throwing a wet ball, it's your advantage because your receivers know where they're going, and the DBs, they have to plant and break.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't say I like throwing with the wet ball. I said I don't have a problem throwing with the wet ball.
3rd and 9. Here comes the blitz. Mariota throwing, sideline, hit his man. That's complete to Corey Davis for a first down.
Outstanding all around the board for the Tennessee Titans. First with the protection. They come with the blitz. You have 2 secondary players blitzing to cause confusion in the protection. They give him plenty of time. He lays the ball to the outside from one hash to the other. Perfect spot for Corey Davis to get the first down.
Yeah, the Giants, they showed their disguise too quick.
And with a new set of downs, Dion Lewis can't go anywhere. Eric Ogletree coming in, helping make the stop.
We'll talk about that, Coach, because you were with James Betcher, the defensive coordinator for the Giants. That was your guy in Arizona. What are some of the things he likes doing on third down?
Well, he loves pressure, but you need to hold that disguise longer. They showed it. They got too antsy, and then Marcus was able to change the protection and pick it up.
You guys had such a long discussion the other day at the Giants camp. Thought you were solving world problems.
Very, very dear friend.
2nd and 12. Mariota with time, going deep to the end zone. It is incomplete. Intended for Taywan Taylor. Update time. Let's take you back to New York. JB, Phil Simms.
Phil, offensive dividends already?
Well, they want to run the ball, and it's happening today. And here's why. Look at the speed of Dalvin Cook as he goes around the end for a 13-yard touchdown. He has 5 for 61 yards rushing today. Minnesota all over Miami, 14-0. Back to Greggy, Trent, Bruce, and Melanie.
It's not quite the last few seconds yet. Miami's still good. Got them right where they want them.
So did I hear that right? We can call you Greggy?
Let's not. Let's not. Let's just pretend we didn't hear that.
We did hear that. All right.
3rd and 12. Mariota spins away from trouble. Still looking. Now throws. That's complete inside the 20-yard line. Corey Davis with the catch and a first down.
So far, Marcus Mariota is winning with his legs. The defensive end took that last inside rush and let him out, and he did a great job of getting away but keeping his eyes downfield to find somebody open.
I thought that was tremendous. I thought he was going to take off and run, and I think a lot of times earlier in his career he probably would have, but recognizing it's 3rd and long, he stayed in the pocket. He got to the outside to threat that he was going to run, and that created some lanes and able to get the first down.
So for the 2nd time, Tennessee comes knocking on the door. They missed the field goal on their opening drive. Henry. Penalty marker flies from deep in the secondary as he bulls his way just inside the 15-yard line.
Holding. Defense number 95. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
The penalty is on the rookie defensive end, B.J. Hill, the 3rd-round draft pick out of North Carolina State. Here's the day that Derrick Henry had last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. There are just superlatives up and down that list.
Team record in yards, and you look at that NFL history, most rushing yards with under 20 carries, and, of course, tying Tony Dorsett, who held that record by himself for a long time.
That's a tough record to break.
Yes, indeed.
First and goal from just inside the 10-yard line. Henry dragged down at about the 6 by Kareem Martin. That was the 12th play of this drive as we approach 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter.
Well, talking to Coach Vrabel yesterday, I said, what's the thing you got to get done on the road? What has helped you guys turn this thing around in recent weeks? He said, well, number one, we can't turn the ball over 12 times on the road like they've done throughout the course of this season. So far, they've protected the football. That'll be something to keep an eye on, especially with these rainy conditions.
On second and goal, this is Henry to the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, we talked about third down, and they converted 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 10 in that drive, and that was huge for them. And Derrick Henry, when he gets ahead of steam now, he's going to make it in the end zone. He just knocked about 3 guys back in there.
Yeah, they've got to make some adjustments, the Giants do, in terms of trying to stop the run. They may take another look at this.
Yeah,
Looks like Henry's
that knee might have been down.
That right
early.
knee may have been down with the ball around the 1 or half-yard line. Surprised they haven't blown it out. Here
now they will.
Yep.
The previous play is under further review.
So they'll take a look at where the football is in
Timeout.
relation to the plane of the goal line while we take a break. Here's Sean Huckley.
When the runner's right knee was down, the ball was short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd down and goal from just inside the 1-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes, 54 seconds. Thank you.
Our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, looking on from a distance, saw it pretty much the same way, right, Gene?
I did, Greg, and it's a good overturn by New York. If we look at the official at the top of the screen, though, we can tell he's being blocked by the defender, number 35. So he really can't rule him short unless he can clearly see that football. Replay does a great job of putting it back just inside the 1.
All right, Gene, thank you. 3rd and goal. Derrick Henry in the backfield behind Mariota. And Mariota going to keep it. No touchdown signal yet. And there won't be one. He's going to be marked short of the goal line.
I don't know how you mark him short of the goal line. It looked like he got the initial push into the end zone. Not only was he in initially, at least I thought, initially he was in the end zone, but then as the pile pushes, watch his initial push. The ball's in his right hand. I don't know if there's going to be an angle enough to overturn it if they try and challenge it. Well, right there you can see the ball in his left arm, and it's across the goal line.
So here we go on 4th and goal. Derrick Henry to the end zone for the touchdown.
Boy, another tackle missed point blank on the 1-yard line. Johnson just missing some tackles that Derrick Henry's running through.
I still think they got in on 3rd down, but good job by Coach Vrabel not challenging, saving that challenge, trusting his team to get it in on 4th and less than 1.
Again, Corey Davis did a great job blocking there on the edge.
10th rushing touchdown of the season for Derrick Henry. And Ryan Suckup, who is 23 for 25 in extra point attempts this season. And makes it 24 for 26. So the drive stalled with a missed field goal the first time down. Tennessee 7-0. We're back in 30 seconds after this. Welcome back, everyone. Derrick Henry's touchdown. Seems to be on a binge running the ball into the end zone lately. Caps a 75-yard, 15-play drive.
Well, we talked to Derrick Henry last night, and we said, what changed? What was the difference for you going into the bye week? He said, well, I wasn't happy with my play at the beginning of the season. Reevaluated things, his effort, what he was doing assignment-wise. You consider coming into today, 8 of his 9 rushing touchdowns were after the bye week. Now make it 9 out of 10.
Yeah, he recommitted himself to be more of a power. I think he thought he was dancing too much. He's going to be a one-cut runner and drag people.
Ryan Succop taking about a 15-yard run at this thing. And it's going to come down well short of the end zone. Corey Coleman at the 7. And across the 25 to about the 26 or 27-yard line. Coach, your game plan for the day?
Yeah, for the game plan today for the Titans, don't turn the football over, and they've done a great job so far. And then defensively, contain Barkley, which he's only had 2 snaps. Protect Eli, get off the field on third down, which they did not do, and that's what's going to. I think that's going to decide the game today is third down.
Illegal block in the back. Receiving team
the
number
Giants
46.
have committed a block
it's
in
a
the
10-yard
back.
penalty. First down, New York.
And it'll back them up. Meanwhile, boy, Barkley hasn't really had much chance. Tennessee, 11 minutes, 20 seconds of possession time in this game, and 103 for the Giants.
It's been completely lopsided. Eli Manning 0 for 2. They 3 and out on their first possession. 9 first downs to no first downs. As you said, time of possession. So they need to get a drive here. They need to get some first downs sustain, let their defense regroup over on the sideline.
Barkley. You know, we talked to Mike Vrabel, we talked to the Titans about what you do about a runner like Saquon Barkley, and they just said swarm. That was the predominant word we heard.
Yeah, no doubt. And, for the Giants right now, there's no panic. You're down a touchdown. Time of possession, you don't get any points for it.
Right.
Just settle down, stay within your offense now, get first downs, and go get some points.
Well, that is the important thing because they missed that field goal the Titans did on their first drive. So it is just a one-possession game. This thing could be tied up in a matter of seconds with Saquon Barkley back there.
Manning with time. And that's complete out of the backfield. Barkley and out of bounds. 79 receptions on the season for that young man. He leads the Giants in pass catches.
Yeah, I think you're looking at one of the next easily 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving yard. He might be a 2,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver guy in the years to come.
He's a special talent. This is really our first opportunity seeing him up close and personal and getting a chance to talk with him. Very impressed with him and his approach to things.
On 3rd and 4, Manning grabs the high snap and then throwing complete downfield to Russell Shepard. It is not ruled a catch. Just across the 45-yard line. One says yes, another says no.
Well, let's see if that second foot. That's the only thing we couldn't see was the second foot. He bobbles it there, secures it, 1 foot. That second foot's in. Ball doesn't move.
He had room for a 3rd foot.
They're still discussing it.
The ruling on the field is that the runner controlled the pass and had 2 feet in bounds. It's a completed pass and a first down.
That's a 23-yard pickup and a nice grab by Russell Shepard.
Thought that was a good job by Sean Hockley coming over, and both officials were discussing it. One official was very adamant upon it being incomplete. The other was pretty strong in his belief that it was complete. He came over, made the final decision, and I think it's the right one.
Mike Vrabel on the other side of the field wasn't so sure. Manning throwing this side of the field, and that is complete. Inside the 45 and out of bounds at the 40 is Evan Ingram, the tight end.
Both of these offenses are very similar. They got big-time running backs, big-time running game, and then you run the bootlegs and the nakeds off of it for your play-action game.
Eli Manning has taken so much heat in this city this year, and I asked him when we saw him on Friday, is there, do you feel deficient in any area? He goes, no, I feel great.
And he's playing extremely well. It's hard your first year in a new offense.
118. We're done.
Whistle. Flags.
Before the snap, false start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The left tackle, Nate Solder.
Well, getting back to Eli Manning in this offense and getting into a rhythm of a new offense, and we talked about the Titans and their improvement after the bye week. The Giants are the same thing. After the bye week, they made more of a commitment to the run. They made more of a commitment to moving Eli Manning around, running some bootlegs, getting outside the pocket, and then also the continuity on the offensive line.
The pitch for Barkley. Barkley trying to find his way around the defense and can't do it. Gets knocked down back at the 46-yard line. Derek Morgan, Kendrick Lewis with help. And these are the final 5 seconds of the first quarter. Certainly a first quarter dominated by the Tennessee Titans. Yet on the board, it's just a touchdown difference. 7-0 Tennessee. We're coming back right after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. And by Aquaman. In theaters Thursday. Rated PG-13.
Well, that's a look inside the Hoboken, New Jersey Fire Department Museum, located in a former 19th century firehouse. Start of the second quarter. The Giants at their own 46 and manning to throw. Over the middle, grab, and Ingram runs out of room short of midfield. As we said, first quarter dominated totally by the Tennessee Titans. 109 total yards to 35. As Coach so astutely pointed out, time of possession doesn't mean anything on the scoreboard.
Well, you can see where the point of emphasis was for Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator of the Titans. Let's not let Saquon Barkley beat us. Let's try and take away the run dimension of their offense. So far, Barkley, -8 yards.
Manning, under pressure, got rid of it. This is Barkley. And Barkley out of bounds at about the 48, maybe the 47.
Watch the late blitz by Adoree Jackson coming off the right side, and Saquon Barkley misses him. Watch, he goes right by him. Uh-oh. Eli able to dump it off to him, and of course the rally for the tackle on 3rd and extra long.
Yeah, we talked a lot about to him Friday about the hardest thing for a young back coming into the league is blitz pickup, especially in a game like this because the Titans are so exotic.
Kicking it away is Riley Dixon. Adoree Jackson is deep. And he will let it bounce. And it'll be grabbed by special teams for the New York Giants. And he carried it right into the end zone.
He did. He caught it. Yeah, he was running with it, and he was just going to flip it out. Well, then it slipped, and he just threw his gloves off. Did you catch that? He just threw his gloves off and dumped them on the sideline. Watch, he catches it. He thinks he's just going to get rid of the ball, but then he goes to get rid of it, and it slips out. Don't blame it on the gloves. He threw those things away.
13:37 to play in the first half. Well, young Mr. Eligwe, the topic of a little conversation as the Giants have challenged what was ruled on the field. Coach, what changes?
Well, I don't know, because it looks, if he had possession, he would have fumbled it through the end zone, and it still come out to the 20.
Right.
I don't know if they would thought having possession that would stop there, but he continued his momentum towards the goal line.
Right.
Well, they are continuing to look at it. Gene Steratore, are you there?
I am, Greg.
What's the deal on this?
If he has possession, and at this point what I had looked at is that the second foot has come down by the kicking team player with full possession. There is no momentum. The ball is actually dead. It's a down scrimmage kick. So it would be dead at that spot. That's what they're looking at right now. And in my opinion, I deem that to be enough possession that they would put that ball down at approximately, I'm looking at around the 6-yard line.
Thanks for clearing that up, because we were sitting up here trying to
in the end zone.
Yeah, trying to figure out from a momentum standpoint and with the ball slipping out. But you're saying by having 2 steps with possession, that makes it a down ball no matter what happens with it at that point.
It does, and we can look at it in a different way. A player trying to keep that football from going in the end zone, let's say, and he possesses it at the 1, and he tries to throw the football back into the field of play to avoid taking it then into the end zone because he is that close with momentum. That possession at that point where he would throw it backward would also be a dead ball situation at that point as well. So there is a clear possession right there, 1 foot. And then we even see, I don't know the other one. I'm telling you that I still feel that would be down at the 6. I see that second foot and the ball start to squirt, but there, I would say dead with possession.
Well, I think you're going to be right. As long as they're taking over on the sideline, it's almost like, okay, where are we going to spot the ball? How much time we putting back on the clock? This is taking a really long time to get the evaluation done.
And that could be the case as well, Trent, because they are going to rewind now and find out where that clock was, when it would be ruled down, and do all the administrative things that you're alluding to.
Okay, so we checked that one off of the how do we stump Gene Steratore list. All right, here we go.
The kicking team member possessed the ball, had 2 feet down, and possessed the ball. Therefore, by rule, when he let the ball go, it's dead at that spot. It's dead at the spot that he first touched it. The ball we placed at the 9-yard line. It's first down. New York will not be charged a timeout.
So a worthwhile challenge for the New York Giants.
And a dead pair of gloves.
Oh. Yeah, he's taping up his fingers, but the gloves are no more. He shed those gloves on the far sideline, and they stayed there for a good long while before someone from security scooped them up. From the 9-yard line now. Mariota running out of time, throws, and diving catch made across the 20-yard line by Luke Stocker. He'll be marked down at the 24-yard line.
I like the aggressiveness, but that's a really dangerous throw on a wet, windy day to bootleg one direction, then throw it all the way across the field on a throwback. You can see the ball dying as it's trying to get to Stocker, and
he did a great job of getting his hands underneath that ball and catching it.
Gutsy call right there, coming out of your own end zone.
So Derrick Henry now back in the Wildcat formation in the quarterback position. He's going to keep it and not find much running room, trying to turn the corner, and he does! Up the sideline. Knocked down at about the 40, let's see where they're going to mark it. About the 45-yard line.
I was just about to give the wide receiver a hard time for not blocking. I said, Derrick Henry's coming out there. Who's the wide? I said, oh, that's Mariota. He's not going to touch anybody. Watch as he comes to the outside. You see the defensive back come in the picture, and I'm like, who's not blocking? Oh, wait, that's Marcus. And then he does throw.
You're right.
Of all things, he throws his right shoulder in there. Why he wouldn't block the corner instead of blocking Ogletree, I don't know why, but.
I mean, yeah, but this is about 3 or 4 times. They've had him dead to rights in the backfield and can't make a tackle.
Yep.
Trent, mark my words. The next time we see Mark Mariota, I'm telling him you dissed him.
Well, I got to have a little talk with him about what was your decision to not block Jenkins but decide to block Ogletree?
Yeah, Derrick Henry looks like he may have stepped out.
Well, does his heel come down? That's what you got to determine, because his toes were off the ground. From that, you can't tell if his heel came down. So I don't know if you can overturn it. There's no clear point where you see his heel come down. The official was right on the line. The one that was up the field from it, you could see his vision coming back down.
And Sean Hockley going to go all the way over to the Giants' side of the field and talk to Pat Sherman.
You could see the foot, but what was the heel down? That's the thing you can't determine.
Well, this has brought everything to a screeching halt, hasn't it? For not the
The
first
ruling on
time
the field
today.
is being challenged by New York that the runner did not step out of bounds. Timeout.
Oh, we took all that time to determine that there was a challenge. So here's Sean Hockley.
The ruling on the field stands as called. It is a first down. New York is charged a timeout and is out of challenges for the game.
So let's see how significant that turns out by the end of the day.
Well, and I think the reason why, when they say it stands, there was no clear evidence of the heel coming down. Yes, it looks like the heel comes down, but you can't see the heel actually make contact with the ground because he's up on his toes. So I can understand why this wasn't overturned, just because you never see clear contact with that heel.
And I can see why the fans are booing.
Yeah, you can understand it both ways, but you have to, in order to overturn it, you've got to be 100%. And
Mariota had to throw that one away. Nothing happening. Derrick Henry, by the way, already up to 71 yards.
The quarterback was out of the pocket and reached the line of scrimmage. Second down.
So it's 2nd and 10.
I don't know why he didn't just dump that to Henry in the flat. He had about a 5-yard cushion. You never know if he catches it and breaks the tackle. There's nobody over there, but
I think Kareem Martin's hands, he might have been afraid to throw it through him.
Right.
So it's 2nd and 10. The Titans at their own 46. This is Henry. And Henry across midfield and 2 yards into Giants territory before B.J. Goodson combines with Michael Thomas to make the stop.
Coach, are you as surprised as I am that they're this effective running the football? Because after the game against Jacksonville, you would think, hey, we're coming in and focus on Derrick Henry, and so far Henry's putting together a heck of a day.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's just missed tackles. I mean, they've got an 8-man box. You can't put 9 in there. They got an 8-man box every time, and they've missed him in the backfield point blank 3 times.
This is a 3rd and 4. Tennessee needs the 44-yard line for a first down. Here comes the blitz. Picked up, the pass incomplete over the middle. Intended for Taywan Taylor, and Tennessee will kick it away.
Well, that was a big stop for the Giants. They needed that one badly. Get their offense back on the field.
Kind of a throw into no man's land there. They had him in man-to-man defense. 2 crossers from the right, 1 from the left, and kind of lobbed down the middle of the field. Not sure who that was to, if that ball slipped out of his hands or not, because it wasn't anyone's specific direction.
Will Davis. This punt is not great, but it takes a Tennessee bounce and rolls dead at the 6-yard line. 11:22 to play in the first half. Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants offense back on the field after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Kay Jewelers, for all the moments, for love, forever.
With the holiday spirit upon us, a look at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center's annual Kwanzaa Festival in Newark. Kwanzaa begins December 26th, lasts until New Year's Day. On first down, there's Barkley, and Barkley out to about the 13-yard line. This came in as a billing of 2 outstanding running backs, as they are, but it hasn't been the Barkley day for the Giants that they had hoped for, but it's early.
Yeah, not enough opportunities yet. Those 4 carries. They need to make first downs.
2nd and 3.
Hey, go out there. Go out 26. Yeah, to y'all. Go to 118. Right there.
Barkley shakes a tackle in the backfield and has running room. Out to the 30-yard line and a first down.
Well, that was just amazing running. They didn't block anybody at the point of attack. He just made them all miss.
Well, and Eli texted, we all could hear him saying, hey, we're going to 26. The tackle goes that direction. The guard does not. So you have a free tackler right in the middle.
Hey, can you really believe a quarterback and what he says out there? Can you?
The offensive line should.
I tell you what, and Finch had a clean shot for a tackle for loss in the backfield and just missed him.
Manning with all kinds of time and throws it away to the far side. Barkley was out there but well covered by Jayon Brown. 2nd and 10.
Really good job of the secondary of the Titans playing tight man-to-man. There was nowhere to go with that football.
So it's 2nd and 10. First 2 carries for Barkley. He totaled a -8 yards. Now he's got 24 on this drive. This is Eli Penny. Not much there. We go to New York once again. JB and Phil.
Never heard Greggy. Defensive alertness.
Yeah, here we go. Micah Fitzpatrick reads the quick screen play from Kirk Cousins, runs 50 yards for a touchdown. That put Minnesota still up 21-7 over Miami. Back to Gregory, Trent, Bruce, and Melanie.
Some people are really bored back in New York. Look at the AFC wild card. Bunch of 7 and 6 teams in the hunt. Here's a 3rd and 8. Manning on the slant. That's right at the first down marker of Corey Coleman. And the initial spot looks like he has enough. And he does.
The Giants love throwing slants, and Eli threw that when he had to trust his receiver because it was double coverage, and Coleman went up and did a great job getting that first down.
3rd and 9, that was a huge cushion. I know the conditions are slippery, but you give that big of a cushion, that's an easy, quick throw, and protected himself, got the first down.
118.
Play fake to Barkley, and Manning got rid of it, and that's complete inside the 45 to Benny Fowler. And that's another New York first down.
Well, you got to give Eli Manning credit. He stood in there. Now, that's a long throw, Trent, to stand in. You know you're going to get hammered. Jarrell Casey was all over him.
Great placement on that football. Fowler goes up, pushes it, makes you believe that he's going to run a deep post, and he just sits it down, and Eli, knowing he's going to take a hit, backpedaling and throwing off his back foot, but because of that hard play fake, gets the linebackers to bite in and able to get it in.
Manning throwing it out to Barkley. Barkley wasn't quite ready for it, and that could have gone the other way.
Well, if Woodyard had his head up, that would have, we just saw Minkah Fitzpatrick take a pick 6 in the Minnesota-Miami game. That would have been our own pick 6 right here in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, he was so worried about tackling Saquon Barkley out in open space.
Which you can understand.
Yeah, exactly. And that was an easy pick 6.
Actually, Barkley was getting ready to make the tackle.
2nd and 10.
Hey, right there. 54. That's it. 118. Right there.
Barkley.
Okay, you guys tell me. Eli's yelling 54. What is he talking about?
That's the Mike linebacker. That's where they're pushing the defense, the blocking scheme to him, and the right tackle just got beat inside by the defensive end.
And sometimes it could be a dummy. So by yelling out 54, they think, oh, it's a pass protection because you're yelling out the player's number. So it's turn protection. They're going to 54 from a protection standpoint. When you know it really doesn't mean anything because on a run block, on that specific run block, it may already be predetermined.
Here's a 3rd and 10. Manning under pressure and going down back at the 48-yard line. That's Logan Ryan off the cornerback slot.
Well, that's inexcusable. Javon Brown had him picked up and just let a DB beat him. And they had guys wide open down the field. That's a shame.
Well, Jayon Brown, the linebacker for the Titans, got underneath. He was trying to hit that out route over on the sideline, and Brown got underneath the out route. He was in position to come up and make the tackle on the swing, so Manning tried stepping up and looking back to the right, and just not enough time to get to that third receiver.
Riley Dixon kicking it away. Adoree Jackson calls for the fair catch and then dodges the ball as it comes down and bounces out of bounds. It'll be spotted at about the 14-yard line. 6:31 to play in the first half. 7-0 Tennessee. Story of this game so far, Tennessee has been able to move the football but has only capitalized once, and that was on a touchdown. They lead at 7-0 from their own 14. Derrick Henry. Henry cuts inside a block across the 20, out across the 25. to about the 26-yard line. Let's check in with Melanie downstairs. Melanie.
Well, Greg, just something of note. Umpire Roy Ellison is back on the field for this game today after serving a 1-game suspension for his confrontation with Bills defensive end Jerry Hughes. That happened at Hard Rock Stadium 2 weeks ago after the Bills-Dolphins game. He was fined 1 game check and is in his 16th season as an NFL official, so he's back down here on the field.
All right, Melanie, thank you. And this is Henry busting his way across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Trent, did you ever get so angry with an official that you confronted him after the game?
No, I did not. I tried making as many of them my friend as possible because if you have a better relationship with them, not that you're going to sway a call one way or another, but I always thought it was better to have those guys as friends than foes.
You'll notice I didn't ask B.A. that question.
Oh, I knew how B.A. reacted to it.
That never worked for me.
On 2nd and 3, Henry. And Henry, just a bull out across the 35 to the 37 for a first down.
His yards after contact today, Derrick Henry, have been amazing. And his ability to make people miss.
And that's the thing about him. He's such a big player, and he's nimble. The cutbacks he's been able to make. There have been several times where there's not a crease or a lane, and yet he's able to push through there. And the first down run that he just had a couple snaps ago, there was nowhere to go, and he made this one. There's nowhere to go. That's a 4 or 5 yard gain. It's steadily moving forward, and eventually, things like that happen in these conditions. He could break one.
And he is now adding to what is already a 100-yard rushing day. 104 yards on 17 carries.
And 50 have to be after contact.
At least, yep.
And this is Henry. To the sideline, Lewis in the backfield. Lewis with the catch across the 42. Alec Ogletree with the hit. We talked to all of the Tennessee Titans about that performance that Derrick Henry made, and they kind of said we just kind of sat back and watched it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota he said, let's just get outside the 10. Okay, he broke another 10. Oh, go ahead and score.
Yeah. What's the game plan? Give it to Derrick.
Just keep feeding him.
3rd and 4.
Another big 3rd down for the Giants. They've got to get off the field.
Here comes the blitz again. Mariota on the move and goes down. Michael Thomas.
Well, that time the Giants did a great job of holding their disguise and coming from deep, and they weren't able to fix the protection and got the sack.
The Giants bring multiple pressures. You're going to see the pressure coming off the slot here, or coming off of this side, left side, and Mariota not able to see him. They try and pick it up. 13 different players have accounted for their 25 sacks this season. They use different packages and different to try and cause confusion in that offensive line. That time it was done.
That is the 40th time this season that Mariota has been sacked. 3:02 to play in the first half. Still a 7-0 game. Welcome back. Final minutes of the first half. The Giants from their own 15. They will start it off with Barkley, and Barkley looking for running room. Finds a room for a couple to about the 18-yard line. Remind you, coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher with scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Well, Derrick Henry with 104 yards rushing on the day. The Giants just had 93 total yards as a team. Manning overthrows Evan Ingram. Maybe for the best with the defense closing in. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Well, you just got through talking about the numbers, Greg, and BA and I were talking about the last commercial break. You could, how lopsided the numbers are. Tennessee has 80 more yards of offense. They have 14, or now it's 13 more plays. The first downs are 13-5. Statistically, it's completely lopsided towards Tennessee. But what is it, Coach? It's a one-score game.
It's a one-score game. One play away.
You can kind of hear Pat Shurmur saying that in the locker room at halftime. 3rd and 7. Manning. Almost intercepted at the 40-yard line by Kendrick Lewis.
That should have been picked off. Eli stared that down way too long. and let Lewis come out of the middle of the field, and he had an easy pick here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. He was staring down Shepard the whole way, trying to get that isolation with the man-to-man. But when you stare down, you got a safety free in the middle. He's just going to draw over there. Lewis not able to bring it in.
Steady rain continues to fall. Dixon kicks it out of there, and this is Adoree Jackson from his own 32. And out to about the 40. 2:09 to play in the first half. We're back in 30 seconds after this from Walmart. 2:09 to play in the first half. 9 seconds until the 2-minute warning.
Hey, Ken!
Dion Lewis. And Lewis may get 2 out of play, no more, as we bring it to 2 minutes to play. 2-minute warning here in East Rutherford. It'll be 2nd and 8 when we come back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway, now delivering to your front door. And by Microsoft Surface.
It has been raining throughout the game. Take a look at what happens in the last 2 minutes. Tennessee's offense, the best at scoring in the NFL in the last 2 minutes of a half. And the Giants' defense, the best in allowing points. Derrick Henry, close to midfield. Timeout situation, each team has 2 timeouts remaining. I said it's been raining throughout the game. It's been raining since we woke up.
Well, and I'm impressed with the way both teams have protected the football. No turnovers on the day. We have seen some drops, and we've seen some slipped passes by the quarterbacks, but for the most part, everything's been pretty clean.
Henry busts it to the outside, trying to turn the corner, and is out of bounds at about the 40. Run out by B.W. Webb.
Well, the Giants are going to have to make some adjustments at halftime. Otherwise, Derrick Henry is going to have another 200-yard rushing day. And this has been impressive how he's been able to cut in these conditions, get to the outside, break through tackles. As you've said many times in this first half, they've been in position to make plays. They just haven't been able to bring him down.
122 yards on the day for Derrick Henry. Looking for more. You know, this is kind of what the Titans told us they did with Derrick Henry a week ago. Just keep giving him the ball and watch him go.
Yeah, it's the best 2-minute offense they have right now. Don't throw it. I mean, just keep pounding away, If they get a field goal, they're up 10. But I'd like to see them throw one of these times. And they're about set up for it.
On 2nd and 7, and Henry ducks just inside the 35-yard line before he gets gang tackled, and we get a whistle and a timeout call.
I think it's actually the Giants that called this timeout.
58 seconds remaining. A reminder for you, coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower, just having too much fun. All the scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, I think you run it here on 3rd down. If you have made up in your mind that you're not going to attempt the field goal, that you're going to go for it on 4th down, if you think that you want to maybe try a long field goal here in these conditions, even though Succop missed one on that first series, I think you maybe put it up in the air, but I wouldn't be surprised they run the ball here and think about going for it on 4th if they don't get it.
Yeah, and the guy to watch out for running is Marcus Mariota.
Dion Lewis is in the backfield on 3rd and 5. An outstanding pass receiver. Mariota, this sideline, incomplete. Corey Davis turned a little late, or Mariota threw it a little early. Anyway, it's 4th and 5. And they will kick it. The punter Riley Dixon coming out.
This would have been a 53-yard field goal attempt if you try the field goal attempt, but instead they're going to try pinning them down there. The Giants still sitting on one timeout.
Excuse me, I said Riley Dixon. It's Brett Kern.
Yeah, had they missed that field goal, they would have got great field position.
And a quick whistle and a timeout as the
Delay of game. Offense.
play clock
5-yard
expired.
penalty. 4th down.
So they'll back them up 5 yards.
Nice little bit of trickery, trying to get the Giants to jump off sides. Good discipline by the Giants.
What do you tell your punt returner in conditions like this, Coach?
Well, field it. First of all, he should have fielded that one earlier.
Right.
And but you've got your rules of you're sitting on the 8-yard line. You do not back up. You know, let it go. Try to fake you're catching it to bring the gunners to you.
Right.
And let it go over your head.
Giants decide to decline that yardage there to force this little tougher punt, to giving them some space.
So then once again, Kevin Byard behind center. And they don't get the defense to jump at all. So for second straight delay of game.
See if they decline the yardage again.
Nope, he doesn't want it.
Delay of game. Offense. By rule, the second successive delay of game foul in a row is unsportsmanlike conduct. This is a 15-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Did you know that one, Coach?
I did. Yes.
Have you been hit with that one, Coach?
No, I have not. I had somebody against us did it, and
well, can they? It looks like they just stepped off the yardage, so they can't decline the unsportsmanlike conduct 15 yards.
they could, but now you got a chance for a punt return.
All right.
Fourth and 21. It's been the longest 2 minutes in history. Davis from the 19 and buried almost immediately. Will Compton, Kevin Byard combining on the stop. We have 47 seconds left to play here in the first half. Well, we have a moment. Tonight on CBS, every clue has led to this. Don't miss a new episode of God Friended Me tonight after 60 minutes only. CBS.
Well, I go back to the last series. They had an opportunity with a screen pass that would have gotten huge chunk of yardage, if not even scored. And I think in this situation, you try and maybe go back to that screen. If you can get Saquon Barkley, get him out in space. I know the Titans will be looking for it, but you want to try and get some big play out of a small pass.
Manning going to throw it downfield, and a catch is made by Ingram. And Ingram just across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Clock continues. Well, it stopped for the moment at 39 seconds.
Yeah, he did a great job of dragging those two guys and getting out of bounds.
Well, and they caught Adoree Jackson was thinking the same thing. He's the corner on that side of the field, and he kept looking at Saquon Barkley swinging out of the backfield. He wasn't getting any depth on his drop, and Ingram was able to get behind him. Good throw by Eli.
22 yards, the longest of the day for him. Manning, incomplete. Intended for Sterling Shepard. Stops the clock at 35 to play.
Those are the plays you got to make in a 2-minute drive or a 1-minute drive. Sliding to catch it and scored it right out of his hands.
2nd and 10. The Giants have 1 timeout remaining. Tennessee has 2.
You'd like to save that timeout for your field goal. Manning, this side, incomplete.
intended for Ingram, batted down by Jayon Brown.
Well, I know you want to work the sidelines, but I think here on third down, you've got to utilize the whole field. You've got to be able to, if you've got something in the middle and you can take it, you got to take it. And if you can hurry up and get up and spike it, still plenty of time with 30 seconds. You can, as you say, Coach, save that timeout for a possible field goal later. Jayon
Brown is still on his back on the near sideline, just now getting up. Here's a 3rd and 10. Manning off the fingertips of Benny Fowler.
Two huge drops.
Yeah.
I mean, Eli's doing everything he can to get him down for a field goal, and then we won't catch the football.
So Adoree Jackson again. Deep. 5 offensive drives by the New York Giants in the first half, 5 punts. Dixon keeps it and is on the move and has a first down and slides down at the 45-yard line.
That was not called. That was just a matter of Dixon losing the handle on the ball. It slipped out of his hands, and as he readjusted to re-grip the ball to get ready to punt, he looked up and saw nobody was rushing him. He said, watch as it slips. He goes to re-catch it, oh, nobody's coming. I'm just going to take off and get the first down. Gutsy decision on his part, but it paid off, and now the Giants are in position with that one timeout still.
He looked up and saw everybody running away from him. 12 seconds on the clock. And Eli has a timeout in his pocket.
I think they had to call timeout after that play.
Oh.
They do not have a timeout.
Okay, so they are out of timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because it would have been a 4th down run. You got to keep it. It's inbounds. Yep, that makes sense. You have to call it. Otherwise, getting the personnel on the field and everything, it would run out.
Now they've got to work the sideline. They try to get probably at least 10 yards, work a vertical sideline play with 8, 10, 15, and 25, and then try to get a first down out of, or just get the ball out of bounds and get a field goal off.
This has been a herky-jerky first half. It hasn't been a smooth running half at all. Way too many stoppages of play.
Well, they're holding up play right now.
From the 45. Manning throwing, incomplete on the near sideline with 6 seconds to play.
The Titans did a good job of blanketing the sideline and not allowing anybody to get near that sideline to throw the football to. Because you cannot throw it down the middle right now. Half would be over.
Well, now you either got to Hail Mary it and chuck it into the end zone, or you got to dump it off, set up a screen, and do a Miami Miracle type play where you're going to lateral it a bunch of times and try and make something out of nothing.
And another whistle.
Second charge timeout of the half. Tennessee, it's a 30-second timeout.
So Tennessee takes a timeout to reassess what they're doing. Mike Vrabel talking to his troops on the near sideline. And oh yes, continues to rain.
You know, they have to do 2 things. They have to defend the Hail Mary, but they still have to defend the short pass out on the sidelines so that they don't get a 5-second quick out and still have a shot at a field goal.
Well, that's why they'll stay in this cover 2 double cloud where they'll have both corners rolled up. They're not going to allow it to happen. You can see they got extra DBs. They're only rushing 2.
Manning throws to the sideline off the hands of Barkley, incomplete. 2 seconds to play.
Oh, and that would have been for no gain, so.
You know, you were talking about the end of that Miami game. How many teams this week practiced that? How many teams defended against that in practice?
Well, yeah. I mean, you do that. You train that in training camp and OTAs, and you walk through it on Saturday every week. Just a matter of making a tackle.
Manning under pressure and goes down to the 45-yard line and didn't get a chance to get it off. Kevin Byard charging up from his safety position. And that is how this first half will end.
Well, the Tennessee Titans DBs, they get a lot of sacks.
We come to the end of the first half with the score. Tennessee 7 and the Giants nothing. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Back here in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's 7-0 Tennessee, and Tennessee largely on the legs of Derrick Henry. How tough is it to do what he did in the first half here when everybody knows exactly what you're going to do?
It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. After his 200-yard performance against Jacksonville a week ago, coming in to today, everybody was anticipating the power, the speed, the stiff arms. What was he going to do? How are you going to back it up when you know the defense is facing you? And he's done just that. It's been impressive, averaging over 6 yards per carry.
Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians. Tell us about what Pat Shurmur might be saying. I might go back to your favorite. It's still a one-score game.
It's a one-score game. Hey, we didn't play very well. Obviously, we didn't tackle very well, and we got to convert third downs. We got to hold this football more. First 5 minutes of the third quarter, let's go out and make something happen.
Everybody already acclimated to the weather as we take a look at the numbers in the first half?
Well, it's completely lopsided other than the score. That's the thing that B.A. preached about during the first half, and he just talked about in the second half, or right here going into the second half, is, yes, you've been dominated. If you're Pat Shurmur, we were dominated in the first half. You have to do better on first and second down to make more manageable third down so they can convert those third downs and keep drives going. They were only 2 out of 8 on third downs, and that's just can't get it done. But once again, it's one possession, one big play, and this thing's tied back up.
Yeah, it's one Saquon Barkley catch and run, or just one run, and they haven't been able to get him loose yet.
Rain continues to come down. Corey Coleman is deep for the kickoff.
Well, and the thing I've been impressed with is both teams taking care of the football. Considering these conditions, they've both protected the football very well.
Coleman from the 2. Across the 25, it hit right there. Melanie.
Well, Greg, as you can see, the rain continues to fall, and it's getting heavier and heavier as this game goes on. I spoke to Coach Shurmur at the half, and the first thing I asked him was, how do you limit Derrick Henry in the second half? He was short. He said, it's simple. We have to tackle better. We're just not tackling well enough. And he said, when we throw the ball, we've got to catch it, although he wouldn't attribute the drops to the wet conditions, Greg.
All right, Melanie, we're going to have to give some sort of an award to Melanie at the end of this day.
I love the fact she still had a smile on her face as she's giving that report.
This is Barkley, and Barkley going nowhere. Rashaan Evans, the first to hit him, and this Tennessee defense has come prepared for Saquon Barkley.
No doubt about it. I mean, they had the safety up, came unblocked inside the tight ends. The tight ends didn't pass it off well enough on the outside zone play, and boy, that's the last thing you want to do is start with a -4 when you come out at halftime.
Well, we talked to the Titans. We said, what do you do against Saquon Barkley? They said, swarm, all of them. Swarm tackle, swarm tackle. What's that mean? More than one guy, more than 2 guys. Get everybody around him because he can break tackles and make things happen after first contact.
Manning with time, throwing deep. Got his man wide open across midfield, and out of bounds is Sterling Shepard.
Well, that's what they needed. They needed a big play, something to get them excited. After that negative play, great play action pass, really good protection, deep crossing route.
Lots of confusion and shifting at the snap on the Tennessee defense.
Well, hard play fake, you get max protection. You've only got 2 guys going out in the route. You're basically just crossing. One guy's going deep to clear it out. Shepard comes underneath, finds a hole in the defense, and Eli's able to make an accurate throw.
38 yards to the Tennessee 41. Barkley inside the 40 to the 38.
I think that's one of the differences so far between the 2 runners. The Titans safeties are tackling well.
Jarrell Casey is down on the field for Tennessee, and they will take a look at him. This stops the clock with 13:28 to play here in the third quarter. He's up and walking it off. We'll be back. Jarrell Casey back on his feet, anxious to re-enter the game. He'll have to sit out a play. In his 8th season, he has 7 sacks on the year, 3 straight games with at least 1. 2nd and 8. The pitch for Barkley. Barkley turning the corner to about the 35. Let's go back and see what happened to number 99, Jurrell Casey.
We'll take a look. He's going to be right there, and as you see him go up the field, you watch that left knee. He goes to plant it right here. It looks like it buckles a little bit. You got a couple guys, he gets a knee to a knee. Spencer Pulley, looks like Spencer Pulley's left knee hits into the knee of Casey. He was able to, as we saw him jog off the field or walk off the field, and looks in position to come back on the field.
Yeah, he is still on the sideline, however, though, on 3rd and 4. Manning. That pass is complete. Inside the 30-yard line, Evan Ingram for a first down. You know, we've discussed all the ins and outs of the kind of year that Eli Manning has had and the kind of criticism that he has taken. Let's not forget, this is an offensive line that had a lot of trouble coming together in the early part of the season.
Yeah, and since the open date, they've had the same 5 guys. Getting Jamon Brown in there has really solidified them.
First down now at the Tennessee 29. Barkley. A tough couple of yards to the 27. Melanie.
The Giants are driving here. Just an update for the Titans defense. Safety Kenny Vaccaro has been ruled out with a concussion. He will not return.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Jurrell Casey is back on the field.
I think if you're Mike Vrabel and Dean Pease, you just got to say to your defense, yes, we've done a great job with Saquon Barkley up until this point, but we have to continue it and stay steady with it, because he could pop that big run, or as you said, Coach, catch a quick little short pass and turn it into a long game.
Well, Tennessee showed a blitz. And
false start. Offense number 87. 5-yard penalty. Second
Sterling
down.
Shepard jumped on offense.
I really think he was pointing out to one of the other receivers who might be the hot receiver, and flinched just a little bit as he was pointing.
Shepard's right there. And see that knee flex?
Yeah, that's a false start.
And, of course, the go-to move is to point to the other guy.
Point to the other guy.
Yeah.
He was pointing to Ryan that Logan Ryan was going too early, and that's why he flexed.
2nd and 13. Manning, pop over the middle. That's Ingram. And Ingram inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line.
That was a great design play on a delay to the tight end after all the big, they sold out on the blitz. He held his guy off and came right into a wide open area.
That's enough for the first down, and Manning has him to the line again in a hurry. Barkley. More tough yards for the rookie out of Penn State.
Well, the Titans are doing a great job of setting the edge and not letting him bounce it outside. He has great patience, but there's just nowhere to go.
Well, we've seen it several times today, and talking to Logan Ryan yesterday, he said, we had asked him, why are the defensive backs so involved in the sacks? He says, we're so good at disguising. It takes the whole unit, because one side will sell it like you're blitzing, so you turn the protection that way, then the other side will bring the pressure. They cause so many different confusing problems for offensive linemen and protection schemes.
2nd and 9, Manning on the move. Penalty marker thrown behind him, and that pass is incomplete inside the 5. And we have a Titan down on the field at about the 28-yard line. And that is Sharif Finch, the rookie free agent out of Temple.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense number 68. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Meanwhile, Brian Mahalik is guilty of the hands to the face call as they take a closer look at Finch. We'll take a break here with 9:49 to play in the third.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Rain continues to fall. 2nd and 19, 9:49 to play. Sharif Finch carted off to the locker room. Manning gets rid of it in a hurry. That's complete to Sterling Shepard and not much running room at all. Adoree Jackson comes up. Let's go back to what happened to Sharif Finch.
Well, Sharif Finch is going to be here at the right side of your screen going up against Chad Wheeler. And watch as he spins out to pursue Eli Manning. When he falls, that left arm gets extended. They called the cart out because they were trying to stabilize that left arm, which leads you to believe that shoulder popped out. Because when he got on the cart, there were a couple people there. The trainer is holding that left arm upright, so hopefully he's going to be all right.
Here's a 3rd and 20 for the Giants.
And the Giants cannot have a sack here.
Manning with time, throwing, intercepted at the 15-yard line. Picked off by Kevin Byard. Byard up the sideline. He will be marked out of bounds. But it looked like a miscommunication because his receiver went one way and the ball went the other for Eli.
Well, I think he's just throwing the out route there, and Byard is in the deep safety, and he's just reading Eli's eyes. Watch the two receiver. It's a cross route. You have a guy going post, guy going corner, and Byard picks the right one because Eli had to throw the ball early with touch, and excellent read and recognition by Byard.
3rd interception of the season for Kevin Byard.
Play is under further review.
The ball might have came out.
Well, I think what they're going to say is maybe there was contact made, so he's down right there.
Either way, we have another pause in the game. They have reviewed it.
The defender controlled the pass and then was touched. He is therefore down by contact at the 15-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Tennessee at that point. Please reset the game clock to 9:03. Thank you.
So Tennessee thwarts the drive by the Giants and takes over at their own 15-yard line. Here's the play.
The right arm of Sterling Shepard is actually, or Russell Shepard reaches out for the ball to catch it, and it hits the right hip. Watch his right hand hit the right hip of Kevin Byard, and that's where the contact takes place.
Textbook tackle. Here's Henry again. Henry to the outside. Gets a 1st down across the 25-yard line, out at about the 28.
Well, we've seen that stiff arm multiple times, but going back to the previous play, Byard does a great job of being in position, reading the receivers are too close to each other. He can cover both of them. Saw a lot of this against Jacksonville, the stiff arm by Derrick Henry.
B.W. Webb's got to get up and keep that inside. He can't lose contain.
140 yards rushing on the day for Henry. And he will actually lose a yard on that one. B.J. Goodson coming up for the stop. I would think
that's
the Tennessee philosophy would be keep giving him the football until the Giants show you can stop him.
That's his first negative run of the day. We've seen Saquon Barkley have several where the Titans are getting in the backfield and getting tackles for loss. That's the first time Henry's been knocked back.
Mariota. Nowhere to go with it. Now looking and throwing and complete to Luke Stocker, the tight end. That's a lot of time to give any quarterback.
They're only rushing 4, but you have to be able to put some pressure on. Watch him go through the progression. 1, 2, he comes back here, 3, 4. Okay, let me go back through the progression. I look left again. Oh, I'm come all the way back here. That'll drive a coach crazy, B.A.
No doubt about it. You got to keep this guy in the pocket. You can't let him out.
Under 7.5 to play in the third. On 1st down, go back to 22. And hit hard by Dalvin Tomlinson.
Holding. Offense number 67. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That penalty is on Quinton Spain.
Yeah, this is what the Giants have to make them pay for this penalty. They've got to be able to get them off the field here. They already lost some field position. They had them pinned back and they let them out on the run. You know, they don't want to have to go 90 yards again when they get the ball back.
Tennessee is the least penalized team in the league.
Well, and that's really their first penalty of the day. The other penalty was the double delay of game on the punt where they're trying to get some separation.
Mariota, little screen for Dion Lewis. Lewis to the 35 to the 36-yard line. Mentioned earlier what an incredible receiver out of the backfield Dion Lewis is. Coming into this game, he had been targeted 56 times, 50 receptions.
Yeah, he's a heck of a receiver, and he's a pretty solid runner too now. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit him with a draw right here.
Second and 13. One deep safety for the Giants. About 15, 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. Mariota, quick pass to the side. That's going nowhere, incomplete, off the hands of Corey Davis. It'll be third and 13.
With those quick wide receiver screens, they're hard to throw when that ball is wet, Trent, because a lot of times you throw them without getting the threads, and that one obviously slipped out of his hand, was pretty high.
Well, we saw the same thing happen earlier to Eli Manning trying to make that quick throw. As you said, many times that's thrown without the laces. You're just getting it and chucking it out there, and when you've got a wet ball, that makes it that much more difficult.
And we get a whistle. And the Giants call timeout.
First charge timeout of the half, New York. It's a 30-second timeout.
Gives us a moment to tell you about the award considered the league's most prestigious. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award recognizes NFL players whose passion to impact lives extends beyond the game and has led them to leave a positive legacy in their communities. Titans nominee, defensive tackle Jarrell Casey, and the Giants nominee, safety Michael Thomas. This year's winner will be announced at NFL Honors the night before Super Bowl 53 on CBS. To learn about all of this year's nominees, visit NFL.com/Man of the Year.
I love that the NFL is doing this and recognizing the players from each individual team. It's something that was long overdue, and I think it's a good thing to get exposure for the guys. They're doing so much good work in the community.
No doubt about it.
Titans need the 49-yard line for a first down. Mariota pulls it down a couple of times and then throws complete to Corey Davis, but that's well short of a first down, and they'll kick it away.
Well, that's a win for the Titans offense, and they moved the ball up 30 yards when they were pinned back into 15. Now the Giants will get it back probably with 80 or so yards to go. So that's a great field position win for them.
But once again, it keeps it that one possession game for the Giants. It just takes that one big play, so you just gotta stick with it.
Will Davis at his own 18, looking for running room around the outside and doesn't find any. So that's where the Giants will start when we come back. 5:27 to play in the third.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
And we were telling you about Jarrell Casey, Man of the Year nominee for Tennessee. He does good things in the community. That pass falls incomplete, intended for Rhett Ellison. Just Casey helped spearhead the Tennessee We Stand For campaign, which provides a platform for players to foster positive dialogue in their community work.
Again, the Giants offense just not helping themselves. You know, too many drop passes. They have a nice naked bootleg. Going to gain 6 or 7. Just got to catch the football.
Second and 10. Manning. Good protection this time, throwing deep down this side, incomplete. Just out of the reach of Russell Shepard. Melanie.
Greg, the Titans' Sharif Finch is questionable to return after being carted off with that shoulder injury. And with Brian Arakpo out, the Titans are now thin at outside linebacker. Expect to see a lot of Kamali Correa now. And a bummer for Finch as he has 30 friends and family members in the stands watching him today. He's from Queens nearby.
Oh. How could you not look forward to that if you're Sharif Finch?
Yeah, that's disappointing. Not only for him, obviously, because of the injury, but kind of a special return for him, being able to play in front of friends and family and to have it in that way for him.
3rd and 10. Manning under pressure, tried to throw it. Is that fumble? Is it a fumble? It appears it to be. Jarrell Casey covers it for Tennessee.
Well, BA, that's a big mistake by Eli Manning. I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to, as he was going down, he tried switching it over, and he was going to push and just try and get an incomplete pass to save the sack. But watch as he shifts the ball from hand to hand, and he's trying to move it and just slips right out of his hands.
I'm not sure he didn't have the hand going forward with that ball.
But does he have control of it with his hand going forward?
Nope.
See how it's spinning, and then it's going forward, and he almost bats it forward. So because it's a turnover, they'll take a look at it.
They're definitely out of his hand, yes, indeed. 2 big turnovers by Eli.
Gene Steratore, that looked like a forward pass to you or a fumble?
That looks like a pushed fumble forward to me. I believe it did come out of his possession as the ball was spinning, and then he pushes it forward. I think the ruling on the field was good.
All right, Gene, thank you. Tennessee ball now at the 14-yard line of the New York Giants, and a chance to expand on a 7-0 lead. Henry for a couple to about the 12. Kareem Martin with the stop. You know, for all the emphasis on the passing game in the National Football League, kind of shows there's a place for a good running back, doesn't it?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, both these teams are built on the run, and then you get this kind of weather, you know, you got to watch out. Now, the one thing in the red zone, you got to watch out for Marcus Mariota and using his legs.
3 tight ends on the field. Mariota giving to Henry. Henry to the 5, to the 3, to the 2.
Again, he had 10 or 12 yards after the first contact, and the Giants are just not tackling. To me, that's the difference in this game. Their lack of tackling and the really good tackling of the Titans.
I've really been impressed by Henry's patience today. I don't think we've had him a few times, not this season, but over the last couple years. He's just shown extreme patience, waiting and cutting back, making that one cut, exploding through. It's led to a lot of these yards.
1st and goal, Henry to the 1.
Really good job by Josh Morrow penetrating into the backfield and making that tackle.
And they're to the line in a hurry. On 2nd and goal and 3.5 to play in the 3rd. Henry, nowhere to go here as he stacked up, may have lost a yard. And it'll be 3rd and goal.
Giants went with a cover 0 package. They had 9 guys up there, and they were all coming forward.
Excellent job by Austin Johnson right in the middle.
So 3rd and goal.
Dalvin Tomlinson right in the middle.
Do you go back to Henry? As coach said, Mariota can run. A little indecision, and he goes down courtesy of Josh Morrow again. Penalty marker down on the play.
They're trying to get the shuffle pass underneath, make it seem like Henry's getting to the outside.
Foul. Face mask, defense number 97. The penalty is half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. Automatic, 1st down.
Morrow, the guy who made the play on defense, let's see what he did.
Watch underneath. They're trying to get the shuffle pass underneath, but Morrow is the one that gets off the block. You can see the left hand gets up into the face mask of Mariota, and that's what brings him down.
Yeah, this is a shame. He made a great play on blowing up the shovel.
So 1st and goal now at the 1.5 yard away from the end zone. Derrick Henry to the end zone for the touchdown.
I mean, that's another time B.W. Webb, they cracked the safety. He's got to be in the backfield making that tackle. You can't wait on Derrick Henry.
Second touchdown of the day for Henry. Second touchdown of the day, period.
As you said, Coach, BW's right there. Got to come up and attack it. With that hesitation, not going to make that tackle.
BW's 5'11", 188 to Derrick Henry's 6'3", 247, the extra point. On its way and good. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to play. In the third quarter, it is no longer a one-score game. Tennessee with a 14-0 lead on the New York Giants, and the rain continues to fall. Hey, let's go back to Super Bowl 42. The Giants and Patriots squared off. David Tyree with a remarkable catch. And that set up Eli Manning's game-winning touchdown pass to Plexico Burress. Outcome not what Patriot linebacker and current Titans head coach Mike Vrabel had hoped for. He'd been a part of 3 Super Bowl winning teams. Maybe Vrabel leans on that with a little inspiration. Here's a guy, here's a linebacker who had 12 touchdown receptions in his playing career.
Yeah, it was funny talking to him. He said, they never ran right at me except one time. but he caught 12 touchdown passes in the goal line offense.
12 for 12. He said they made the mistake one time of running to his side. He goes, they never did that again. It didn't go well, he said, his block.
2:20 to play in the third. And Tennessee out to a 2-touchdown lead. Corey Coleman will start this one back from the 3. And across the 25 to about the 26 or the 27-yard line. Talk about the defense that the Tennessee Titans have thrown at the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley today. It has been effective.
And the interception by Kevin Byard. And then the last possession, Eli Manning trying to make something happen, flip the ball out, it comes loose. First turnover, the Giants were able to stop him. Second one, not so much.
Giants have turned the ball over twice in their last 4 offensive plays. Barkley turns the corner. Adoree Jackson runs him out of bounds. You know, a nice thing about talking with Saquon Barkley, as we did on Friday, his talents, of course, are very obvious. If you watch him week to week, you see all the highlights. But he's a young man who's very respectful of the game.
Very humble, yes indeed.
Can't get outside. There's Adoree Jackson.
Well, that's the difference between the last touchdown. They cracked the safety. Adoree Jackson came up, made the tackle on the line of scrimmage, where the Giants haven't gotten that done today.
3rd and 3 as we come down to the last minute 20 of the third quarter. Manning running out of time, throws it deep down the near side, fight for the football, incomplete. Sterling Shepard and Logan Ryan going for the ball. It'll be 4th down.
A lot of contact both ways. That's what the fans were screaming about.
Logan Ryan did a good job of waiting and then jumping up and batting it. Like I said, they're both pushing each other, so it's a fair fight. Again, the Giants unable to convert on third down, so they can't get any kind of drive going.
Dory Jackson will let this one bounce, and it rolls back, and the Giants finally down it at about the 31-yard line. This, again, each of these teams in the fight to stay alive in their respective playoff pictures. In the AFC, Baltimore 7-6, Miami 7-6, Tennessee 7-6. All with an eye on that last wild card spot.
There's some question as to whether or not Tennessee hit that ball. Giants were trying to convince the officials that that he had touched it, that Darren Bates had hit it with his foot. The officials said, nope, Tennessee's ball.
Mariota had to throw it away under pressure. Corey Davis, the nearest to the ball. It'll be 2nd and 10. You know, whenever we talk about weather, I know the old fallback is, well, both teams have to play in it. But do you feel that Tennessee's game is more conducive to this weather than the Giants?
No, I think both offenses are built the same way and, run the football. For me, the difference in the game is the tackling of the Giants versus the tacklings of the Titans.
Lane continues to come down on 2nd and 10. Henry. And hit just as he crossed the 30. His forward progress will be marked at about the 31-yard line. B.J. Hill and Kerry Wynn making the stop. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, and I agree with you, Coach. I think both offenses, they want to run the football. They want to use the quick passing game with high completion percentage. And then when you get the run game going, that's when you get the play action pass and try and get the big pass up the field. It's just Tennessee's doing a better job of it. And as you said, right now Tennessee's tackling a lot better than the Giants are.
Yeah, especially their defensive backs, safeties and corners.
They're going to allow time to expire here in the third quarter. We've played 3, Tennessee 14, the Giants nothing. Back after this message and a word from your local station. Ready to start a rainy fourth quarter along with our producer Ken Mack, our director Suzanne Smith, Greg Dumble, Trent Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins. Tennessee on top of the Giants 14-0. And we'll start this quarter with a 3rd and 10. Lewis, maybe 2 yards on the play. Michael Thomas putting the stop on it, and onto the field comes the punting unit.
A very conservative call with a run on 3rd and 10, but I think the only way that the way their defense is playing, they don't want to turn the football over. That's for sure. That's what Mike Vrabel told us, yesterday at the hotel. We cannot turn the football over. We have a chance to win.
Well, and I think that conservative approach, because of that second touchdown, now all of a sudden it's not one play and it's a tie ball game. Now it's a 2-possession type of game, and I think Tennessee will maintain that conservative approach the rest of the game unless the Giants can get on the board.
Joel Davis back at his own 20-yard line. Great kick by Kern, drives him all the way back to the 10. Back to the 15, trying to break it to the outside. And a penalty marker's down. And down on the field is Antonio Hamilton.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 45. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, 1st down, New York.
Eligwe guilty of the block in the back. And Hamilton in some difficulty as he gets to the sideline.
Well, that's a big penalty because he just pushed their offense way back there. I think, Trent, they're probably going to be in 2-minute mode, down 2 scores. You
almost have to be. You have to go some up tempo. You have to, they've tried some hurry up or just muddle huddle where you're at the line of scrimmage. But the way things have been going, you've got to try and get something going here with only now down to 14 minutes left in the game.
Barkley alongside Manning in the backfield. And Manning to throw. sideline, complete. And out of bounds is Evan Ingram. Fans just anxious for something to happen.
And I would think the Titans are content with allowing them to do that.
Yes, indeed. 2 for 2 yard passes into that soft zone.
Ingram 6 catches for 61 yards today.
Hey, go out 26. Go out to 26. No. Yes, you. Go out to 26. 118. What's that?
Good conversation at the line. Barkley with running room up the middle and across the 15. Penalty markers down.
Holding. Offense, number 88. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. Replay, second down.
On that play, that is Logan Ryan still on his back for the Titans at the 15-yard line. And when things resume, the penalty will back the Giants up even more. The Giants certainly haven't found that offensive rhythm that they had last week against Washington. Let's take another look at Ingram.
Logan Ryan. Oh, you're talking. The penalty's up at the top of the screen right there on 58, 88 on 58.
That's a terrible call.
And then you could see 26, Logan Ryan. He was the one limping off the field, who got caught up in the pileup. They landed on top of him.
On second down, Manning had to get rid of it out of the end zone. It'll be third down. Yeah, the Giants just have no rhythm to their offense today, none whatsoever.
You know, every time he drops back now, when it's a known passing situation, they've struggled all year in pass protection.
45 yards is what the Tennessee Titans have limited Saquon Barkley to. Third and 12. Manning had to get rid of it in a hurry, and he did. Misses Ingram, and Ingram just across the 10 to the 11-yard line, but not nearly enough for a first down. Manning has been under the gun all day.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think they are missing Odell Beckham Jr. just another guy to have a big play out of. I mean, everything relies right now on Saquon Barkley.
Well, the Giants just haven't been able to overcome the penalties. 10 penalties on the day, and it just seems that it starts their drives off in bad position, and then you can't overcome on third downs. They're only 3 of 13 on third downs. And
Giants get a favorable bounce, but Tennessee is going to have favorable field position when we come back as the rain continues to fall at MetLife Stadium. We told you at the top of the day how important winning would be for each of these teams if the Giants lose and Minnesota wins against Miami, and they are leading by 10 at this point. That eliminates the Giants and their playoff hopes. On first down, Henry. Maybe a yard. We check in with Melanie.
Well, Greg, when the Giants go back out on offense, they may be without center Spencer Pulley, who's questionable with a calf injury. So John Greco has been in at center in his absence for now.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. I'm surprised when Melanie talked, we didn't hear that. It's been in the rain all day long. 2nd and 9. Henry, left side. Then brought to a halt at about the 45-yard line of the New York Giants. B.J. Goodson with the stop. It'll be 3rd and 2.
What makes average guys good players and good players great players is consistency. And if you look at Derrick Henry in his first 43 starts in the NFL, he only had 2 100-yard rushing days. Now, some of those years and some of those games he was splitting carries, but if you look at back-to-back weeks now, putting together outstanding performances, 238 a week ago, right now sitting at 159 and 2 touchdowns. Great performances in back-to-back week by Derrick Henry.
First down, Derrick Henry. 32 carries on the day. That's a career high for him. Oh, excuse me, it's not Henry, it's Dion Lewis. Henry getting a well-deserved rest on the sideline.
Yeah, he did a great job with a jump cut and finding that first down marker.
Henry has been quite the workhorse. Quite the workhorse the last couple of weeks. All season long, really. More than 800 yards rushing on the season. This is Lewis, and Lewis finds room to the 40. Update time in New York. Let's get you back to Phil Simms. Phil.
All right, Greg Gumbel, it's all me here. Watch this 40-yard beautiful throw down the field to Aldrick Robinson by Kirk Cousins. Right on target, 40 yards. It puts the Minnesota Vikings up 34-17 over Miami. Back to Gumby, Trent, and Bruce Arians, and Melanie Collins.
We're just
Turn his microphone off. He's getting carried away. Thank you, Phil. Clock continues to move. 9:20 to play in regulation. 2nd and 8. Mariota throws complete to Derrick Henry.
I'm surprised he tried to fit that one in, Trent. That was pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it was.
That would look like a throwaway all the way.
Well, Corey Davis was working that backside drag at about 10 yards, and he was open. It was just a matter of, okay, do you throw it and risk a ball getting tipped or slipping through somebody's hand and a turnover? Mariota took the much more conservative approach and hit the underneath route.
There's our Melanie Collins. Park meteorologist today. Quick snap with necessity, and here's Dion Lewis. And Lewis inside the 30. Lewis spinning to the 23.
But they're going to turn the tape on tomorrow, and they're going to be talking to these corners about tackling. They had a crack, no replays whatsoever, and just flat-footed miss a tackle.
Janoris Jenkins dives in there and doesn't wrap up, just tries using his shoulder to knock him down. Michael Thomas tries to wrap up, but just slides right down the body. So you've been touching on it all game, Coach. The tackling of the Giants secondary has been subpar today.
17-yard pickup. Now on first down from the Giant 23. Lewis, 15 to the 12. And that'll be another Tennessee first down, and the Giants just unable to stop this Tennessee running game.
Yeah, it seems like when they get them in nickel defense, they are really pounding that front.
Well, that's now over 200 yards rushing by the Titans on the day, and it's just been complete domination up front. And then, as we've said, getting through those missed tackles, getting the extra yards. Impressive performance by the offensive line, and of course the backs as they're stacking up yardage.
Snap again, and we have penalty markers down. They may have been too quick a snap.
Yeah, if you're going quick count, you got to give him at least a second to get set, and Mariota snapping that ball before everybody was set a full second.
Kind of surprised they're in a hurry up and not milking
False
the shot
start.
clock.
Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
And Mike Vrabel was telling us the way that Derrick Henry was running the ball last week. He could have called the plays.
Yes, indeed. I imagine you'll see 3 more runs in a row right here, Trent.
You would think so. You would think so. if anything, maybe get to a bootleg just to try and surprise them like they did a couple plays ago, but keep running it downhill.
First down from the 17-yard line. Dion Lewis. And look at the strength of Dion Lewis. Forward progress is going to be marked, and now penalty flags fly and tempers flare. Looked like Olivier Vernon put a little extra oomph in the tackle.
Looked like he watches professional wrestling. That's what the 15 yards is going to be.
One, two, three, four. New York Giants to pull Dion Lewis. And that one not necessary.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, offense number 64. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 52. Those fouls offset, replay, first down.
Oh, they were wrong on the number. They called 52. He's the one that jumped in there to protect things.
It was Olivier Vernon, number 54.
Ogletree came in to just try and break up because he saw Lewis going after Olivier Vernon, and Ogletree separates him, gets right in the middle.
That is a penalty on 52. I don't understand it, Coach.
No, it was 54 all the way. And totally unnecessary.
Yeah, Giants' frustration's beginning to show a little bit here. 6:17, 6:15 and counting. And a first down and 15 from the 17-yard line. The pitch to Henry. Right side. And fights his way to the 15-yard line and no further. And all Eli can do now is watch the clock wind down. Second and 13. Not a great day for Giants fans. But Derrick Henry, wow. Those are two pretty good weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot of carries for 2 weeks in a row now.
And a lot of touchdowns. The pitch for Henry. Henry inside the 10 to about the 6.
Well, that's now going to put him over 400 yards the last 2 weeks.
Is that good?
That's a good way to get things rolling here as they're trying to make a push to get get that last playoff spot.
I imagine he's going to get another carry right here.
There's a good. Oh, Lewis just came in. I'll take that bet.
There you go. He's going to get the carry.
Right.
So the Giants use a timeout here, stop the clock with 4:55. Tennessee has thrown the ball 21 times today and run it 42. We have a moment. Stay tuned for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut, time permitting. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. I'm scared to death to think what happens if Phil Simms runs out of nicknames. We'll start making them up.
As long as he stays on you, I'm good.
Pruitt. And Pruitt will be marked about 2 yards short of a first down. You kick the field goal, Coach?
Definitely. Get it in a 3-score game. 5 minutes left, you're in great shape.
So Ryan Suckup comes out. And by the way, the Giants have used their third and final timeout with 5:07 to play here in the fourth. looking for all the world like this would eliminate the New York Giants from any possibility of a playoff spot, while Tennessee stays very much alive in the race in the AFC. By the way, we had a few technical issues emanating from New York. We apologize for that. Succop from 22 yards out. He missed from 48 way back in the first quarter. And that does make it a 3-score game. Tennessee 17. The New York Giants nothing with 5:06 to play in the fourth.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Days sales event today.
That's Michael Thomas, the Giants' Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, leader in the Giants locker room on social justice issues, and an all-around good guy. Hosted the 4th annual Camp Mike T event, which focused on financial literacy and athlete activism. Coleman at the goal line. Jumping across the 20 and brought to a stop at about the 24-yard line. Coming up next, it's a doubleheader Sunday. The showdown with two teams coming off tough losses. Brady and the Patriots, Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next here on CBS. Two teams, Coach, I would think you don't want to meet when they're coming off of tough losses.
Oh, definitely. This should be a heck of a ball game.
So here's Manning. Needs results in a hurry. The Giants down 17 and just a tick under 5 minutes remaining. Manning throws this way, and that's complete to Russell Shepard just across the 30-yard line.
Well, just like we anticipated, the Giants are going to a hurry up. Russell Shepard on that. It was a low throw, got that right leg pinned underneath him, and he's trying to limp off the field.
So they'll tend to him on the sideline. Meanwhile, 2nd and 4. Manning under pressure, had to get rid of it in a hurry and throws incomplete for Barkley.
The Tennessee defensive line is just pinning their ears back right now. And the Giants offensive line has struggled all year when it's a known passing situations.
Well, I know we've made a big deal about Saquon Barkley and the way they've been able to stop him in the run game. Only 31 yards rushing on the day. He's only got 10 yards receiving, 2 catches for those 10 yards. So 12 of the 13 games this season, he's had over 100 yards from scrimmage. Right now, he's sitting at 41 scrimmage yards.
Not used to that. Manning throwing over the middle, and it is ruled incomplete. It'll be 4th and 4.
And Manning knocked down once again.
Giants have to go for it for sure.
By the way,
they've been plagued by drops today.
Derrick Henry, 408 rushing yards over a 2-game span.
Good thing for him it was a 10-day span.
Fourth and 4. Manning under pressure, throwing, and nobody there.
Well, it looks like they're going to have a hold on the Titans up the field. I know they're looking at maybe an intentional grounding call as well. There was discussion about that, but no flag was thrown. So this would be an automatic first down for the Titans.
There was no intentional grounding because the quarterback was out of the pocket and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. However, before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 36. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
That penalty is on LaShawn Sims. And that's a momentary favor to the offense as you see Russell Shepard taking a ride to the locker room.
Well, the Giants, they're a short passing, quick passing game team. They've got to push this ball up the field, and they've got to score in a hurry. They can't do it 5 yards at a time.
That was the first down for the New York Giants this quarter. Manning. That is complete. Joel Davis with the catch, and that's good enough to move the chains out to the 44-yard line. Clock continues to move, 3:50 to play. Manning with time this time over the middle, and that is complete to Barkley, and Saquon Barkley inside the 45 to the 43.
Well, the Titans know the biggest enemy right now is the clock, so they're just dropping back, prevent defense, deep safeties, deep corners. Linebackers are getting depth, allowing all these checkdowns and underneath throws as long as that clock keeps moving.
Manning, near sideline, incomplete. Ingram, the intended receiver, covered by Wesley Woodyard.
And being the pro that is, he turned his head around at the last minute to avoid a pass interference call.
We talked with Wesley yesterday. Did he ever stop smiling during our meeting? He's just one happy guy.
What a great pro.
Stop the clock with 3:12 to play. 2nd and 10. Manning with time goes underneath and misfires with Sterling Shepard. It'll be 3rd and 10. Giants just look out of sync.
Yeah, a lot of
no small part to the Tennessee defense.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Woodyard had a smile on his face the whole meeting. He was just saying how much he enjoyed playing the game, the chemistry on this team. The guys all enjoy playing together. Likes the locker room.
A leader in the locker room. 3rd and 10. Manning throwing, and that's complete to the 35-yard line. That's 2 yards short of a first down. Ingram pulling it in. And the clock continues to move as the Giants look for a first down at least on 4th and 2. Manning looks left, throws left, and that's complete to Joel Davis, and he's right at that first down marker. And they give it to him. It's a first down. Under 2.5 to play. Remember, this Giant offense without the services of Odell Beckham Jr. today. Quad injuries sidelined him. Manning down the sideline. On the far side, Benny Fowler, they say he made the catch and stayed in bounds at the 8-yard line. That's a heck of a catch by Benny Fowler.
One impressive job of body control. See, secures the ball, 1 foot, 2 foot. No movement in the ball. Excellent catch.
1st and goal. And timeout. Timeout, Tennessee.
Before the snap, timeout, Tennessee.
2:07 to play in the
30-second
4th.
timeout.
.207 on the clock. Giants trying to find the scoreboard for the first time on this rainy afternoon. Manning with Barkley inside the 5. The catch is made at the 4. And that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play. Tennessee looking for its first shutout since the year 2000.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, reminding you not to drink and ride your horse. And by Lowe's.
the Giants to the line of scrimmage. Barkley in the backfield, 2nd and goal from the 4. Manning throwing left side, incomplete. Corey Coleman, the intended receiver. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Coleman on the Dory Jackson to the outside, and Jackson was complaining after the play about a push-off. And
yeah, he shoved him with both hands.
He should have been complaining.
So from the 4. Manning throwing, end zone, incomplete. It'll be 4th and goal from the 4.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, I know this doesn't mean much in terms of who wins or loses this game, but as players, you want that shutout.
Oh, there's no doubt that defense wants a shutout and the offense wants some points. But that defense will be playing as hard as they have all game on this down.
Manning throwing this side, incomplete. Kellen Byard got an arm up and knocked the pass down. Not only will that seal things for the Tennessee Titans, with a Miami victory looming, or defeat looming at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings, the Giants' loss here will eliminate them from the playoff picture.
Well, Ingram beats Byard to the corner. Ball just comes out of Eli's hand a little funny, and I think Byard maybe knocks it down with his back.
Yeah, that was just completely unthrown.
Yeah.
And Mariota takes a knee. And the clock is winding. The Giants can't stop it.
Well, the Titans have a couple more left. They're still in the thick of things. They got Washington next Saturday and then finish up with Indianapolis, who had a big win over the Cowboys today.
And both those games will be in Nashville. December 15th of the 2013 season, the last time the Giants suffered a shutout. And as we mentioned earlier, Tennessee's last shutout against the Dallas Cowboys, Christmas Day of 2000. We duck under a minute remaining as we look at the AFC playoff picture. Baltimore, Indy, Tennessee, all 8-6. Miami dropping to 7-7. And lots still to be decided in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, in the next 4 or 5 hours between that Pittsburgh-New England game, that's got a lot of ramifications to it.
Last snap of the day.
Well, Mike Vrabel told us, he said, on the road, we can't turn the ball over. We got to be resilient. We got to bring energy. They did all those things today.
Everything they wanted to do and needed to do.
Yes, indeed. Outstanding, and the Giants did exactly what they didn't want to do. They knew they had to tackle and have 8 men in the front, and they just didn't get it done. They couldn't stop Derrick Henry.
Held Saquon Barkley to 14 carries for 31 yards. While Derrick Henry turned in a 170-yard performance. Final score once again, Titans 17 and the Giants nothing. Up next, it's the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut.